iPhone 6s. This phone belongs to a friend. It turns on and works, but has some issues. The classic problems that arise after years of use. The battery doesn't last long. The screen is chipped from a fall. The charging port no longer works very well. Let's see this first. I take a charging cable and try to insert it. In fact, it enters, but it doesn't make a nice click, as it should be. It also moves inside the charging connector. Clearly, something is wrong. Could be a dirty connector, and in this case a good clean will solve the problem, but it could also be a broken connector. In this case, I will have to replace the entire flat of the charging connector. Let's see what I can do. Ciao, my name is Mirko and this is how I restore it. Let's try cleaning with something wooden, like a toothpick. I can see something with the lens on the bottom, right on the back wall. With the toothpick, I can move it. Much better try something metallic. I don't really like the idea, because I could definitely ruin the port. I'll try to pay close attention. Very gently. Something is moving, and with a few taps, it comes out. It is always amazing to see how much stuff can fit inside those walls. Now it works fine. Before continuing, as always, I will back up all the data. You never know. In the cards, I leave the link to the video that shows how I did it. Perfect. Now I can start with the real work. I need the screw prints, as always, a new battery with the adhesive, a new display with obviously the adhesive to seal the screen. The display is an in-cell Type 1. It's the first time I've tried it and I'm very curious. I remove the pentarop screws. With a suction cup and a pick, I try to lift the display. I also use other tools. Gently, there is no rush. I loosen the adhesive and lift the display. I remove the battery connector bracket. I unplug the battery. Same thing for the display connectors bracket. I disconnect all the flats and take off the display. I remove some of the adhesive, but I'll finish the cleaning later. Let's try the new display. I plug in it, connect the battery, I try to turn on the phone. It works perfectly. I can go on. To remove the battery, it is better to remove first the tacting engine, so I have more space. I pull the first adhesive strip under the battery. And the second too. So the battery comes out easily. Incredible, this time they didn't break. I try the new battery, I connect the display, I plug in the battery. Perfect, I can go on. I clean the housing from the dirt and the adhesive residues. Some alcohol always helps. A little wipe on the back too. Perfect. Put the vibration motor back on. I put the adhesive on the new battery. I plug in it. And so put it in place. And then unplug it. Now let's move on to the display. I remove the bracket of the front sensors, the speaker, and the side screws of the LCD protection plate. A little piece of adhesive under the on button connector, so it stays in place. I remove the screws of the on button bracket. I remove the on button bracket. I disconnect it. And I transfer it to the new one. Now I take off the front sensors flat. The light sensor filter, which I place immediately. Now I gently lift the adhesive that binds the protective plate to the LCD flat. I also transfer the two pieces of adhesive to the new display. I can take off the protective film and place the protective plate. It screws, the front sensors, and the bracket. With its screws. I finally found one with the IC of the right side. This fit well with the adhesive attached to the front sensor bracket. I put the adhesive on the housing for the display. I connect all the screen flats. I plug in the battery. I put the display connectors bracket. The battery connector bracket. Close the phone. The pentalock screws. A tempered glass protection, and that's it. Time required about 6 hours of work. iPhone 6s. Now this phone works perfectly. The charging port problem was solved. Fortunately, a good clean of the port was enough to fix the problem. The display is now perfect. I was curious to try those in-cell screens, and I have to say that they work really good. No color problems, 3D touch is fine, they cost a little more, but it is worth it. They are somewhere in between normal Tianma displays that are a good quality ones, but aftermarket, and the refurbished display that are the original ones to which only the glass has been changed. I'll use them again for sure. The no longer performing battery is now gone. With this new one, now it can easily reach the end of the day. Anyway, I will advise my friend not to update the firmware for now. Unfortunately, the updates increase the consumption. Furthermore, probably this model will no longer receive updates this year, so we might as well leave it like that. Too bad, because the 6S was still a nice phone, but the technology goes on, and the more the time passes, the more it can keep up. However, with this lifting, this device can still be used for a few years. If you like the video, remember to subscribe to the channel and follow me on my social. Ciao!